Flynn grabbed one of Zane's arms with Raylan, and together they were just able to pull Zane into the center of the car, away from the door and away from her. The woman still hadn't moved, just kept staring out the door. "Hello?" Maddox said.
"You said not to move," the woman replied evenly. "This is me, not moving."
Maddox gripped the gun tighter. He'd escorted dozens of the worst, most sadistic criminals the galaxy could produce to various black sites or hypermax installations all across the Razor, and they all had one thing in common, that icy calm. No matter what they'd done, no matter where they were going, they always thought it was them who was really in control. The woman at the other end of the car had that same calm. "We know who you are," Maddox announced. Gable breathed deeply in the doorway.
"It is what we do that defines us, James. Not names, not titles. And I am the woman who saved your life."
On the floor next to him, Raylan's hands were moving over Zane. The slow burn stood out on her arm, but she didn't seem to notice. She was in her element, helping someone who was hurt. "I didn't get the impression saving us factored in all that much," Maddox said. "I think you just liked the blood."
"Do you think?"
"I've seen enough of your kind to know." Finally, slowly, she turned. Maddox tensed, finger on the trigger. He didn't have the laser sight on. She was too fast. If she came for him, accuracy wasn't going to count for much. He'd have to fire full spread, shoot at angles, and pray. But she just locked onto him with her eyes.
"You're a former ranger,"
Gable said. It occurred to him suddenly that she not only knew he'd been a ranger, but also knew his first name.
"If anyone understands the necessity of killing men like that, it would be you."
"There's a difference between necessity and enjoying it." Gable smiled. It was altogether unpleasant.
"You've never enjoyed it."
Maddox hesitated, words not coming as easily as he hoped. Key suddenly burst into the train car, then ground to a halt as she saw what was happening.
"Fuck me running,"
Key exclaimed behind him, eyes wide, staring at Gable. Flynn looked up at Key from the floor where Zane was comatose. Her presence seemed to wake Flynn up somehow. Gable's gaze shifted to Key, the smile staying in place.
"I'm so pleased you survived, Key. The last time I saw you, things looked desperate indeed." Where did she...
Key stammered, obviously shocked. "It doesn't matter right now," Maddox said. "I think it does," Flynn responded. The engineer stood up next to Maddox. Key stayed behind them. Maddox wished Raylan would do the same, but she was working on Zane. "How did you get here ahead of us?" Flynn asked Gable. Gable's gaze shifted to him.
"I had hoped you would be happier to see me, Marcus."
There was a strange note of fondness in her voice, Maddox thought. "How?" Flynn insisted.
"Bargains were made at Site 11.
Gable shrugged.
"You saw that yourself."
At that, Maddox looked at Flynn, confused. So did everyone else.
"Oh,"
Gable said with concern.
"They didn't know. You didn't tell them."
Flynn seemed suddenly apprehensive, and it didn't sit well with Maddox. "Tell us what, Flynn?" He looked at Maddox nervously. "The hot labs at the black site had one of those things in it."
"We all saw those,"
Key said behind him, her voice just as suspicious. "This one was different," Flynn said. "Nothing's ever scared me as much as that thing, and it talked to her."
"Talked?"
Key asked.
"It spoke fucking English?"
"No, I mean, I don't know, telepathically, or—" "What did it want?" Maddox cut off the scientific musing. "I don't know, but she let it loose," Flynn said. "She reconnected the reactor, which gave it the power it needed to escape."
"Technically, Marcus," Gable said pointedly, "you reconnected the reactor, at my urging."
Maddox's stare hardened even more. He saw Key glare at Flynn in exasperation.
"Jesus fuck, Flynn,"
she said. "It was the only way to get out of there," Flynn answered. "You don't know what it was like."
"A reactor meltdown would override a quarantine lockdown."
It was Raylan, on the floor with Zane, the one person on this whole train who might actually be able to go toe-to-toe with Gable and who was barely breathing.
"Raylan is correct,"
Gable stated.
"There was no other choice. The actions Marcus and I took allowed all of you to escape."
Her gaze locked onto Maddox again.
"You might say that I have saved some of you more than once now."
Key drew one of her plasma knives from her jumpsuit. The blade glowed hot orange.
"I say we put a knife in his skull right now," she said.
Gable seemed unintimidated. I don't know the feasibility of that.